Welcome to the InStory show. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host. Our theme this season is what does it mean to expand into a new story? And how do you stop hiding your spiritual gifts and dare to be seen for who you really are by saying yes to your soul and telling your story? So today I am thrilled to welcome Keren Tamir. Hi, Keren.
Hi.
So before we dive in, I'm going to read a little bit about you and then we'll see where we go. Keren Tamir is a self-taught mixed media artist with a profound love for art. With a diverse range of mediums and techniques, she derives great joy from creativity and the opportunity to experiment. Her main mission is to guide and inspire others on their creative journey, helping them gain confidence and discover their unique artistic voice. Through her teaching, she aims to enable individuals to express their stories through art, fostering personal growth and enhancing their overall well-being. I always love when stories are a part of things. So, all right, but start us out like I ask everyone to tell us what does expanding into a new story mean to you?
Yes, hi. So it's interesting because when you asked me that question first, I was like, not really. It was really, I had to think about it a lot. It was really hard for me to understand what you meant by that. Because I'm like, what do you mean story? My story is ongoing. Like I keep on, my life is a story and I keep on telling the story. So like, what do you mean a new story? Like I'm not starting something new. But then I realized something that happens to me often is that throughout my life, I have had to take a lot of, I want to call them, I call them coffee breaks, but let's call them breaks, like where my soul is kind of either stuck or in kind of like sleeping mode, almost like hibernating. And I always saw that as like something where um, I feel, oh, okay, I'm going down. Like that's what I call myself. I'm going down. Like I'm shutting myself down and I need to like kind of introvert myself, going to myself to like figure out what's going on, what is happening in my life. But I never saw it as until like I think I was speaking to you a few a few weeks ago, and it made me realize that expanding into a new story is what happens after I come out of hibernation. It's like, and right now I feel like I'm in a hibernation. I'll be honest. I'm like in that place where um like I'm really deep in within myself, and it's really hard to be here because it really brings down my creative process. I can't like create in these times as much as I can when I'm in the higher level, like I don't know level, I call them levels, but like you know what I mean. So I feel like expanding into a story, like now I'm just like, okay, I'm waiting. It's like, what's the story that's coming next? Because this has happened already before, but I never realized. I always like, I'm hard on myself and I'm like, oh, here we go again. Again, I have to like go through this difficult time to be able to this. But looking back, I've always gotten out of it. So is that I feel that's where I'm like expanding to like a story path, like you know, it kind of moves like this, like in a zigzaggy kind of way, or not zigzaggy, but wavy. I don't like zigzags. I like a wavy kind of thing, like a branch, tree branches. It's like, okay, you've reached here. Now I'm going to expand into this direction. I have a lot of connection with trees, so tree branches would make the most sense. So
I really love this perspective because it isn't this linear process. And we can be so hard on ourselves when we really like one of the expressions I say is our struggles become our wisdom. And I think you're right. There is this shift that happens that might be a struggle or a pain or a quietness or a going inward or whatever it is that allows something new to be born. Right? Like there has to be some other thing than just producing, producing, producing in
right,
order
right. But
for
like
the
with
new.
any birth, it's very difficult.
Yes,
uh, yeah,
right? Like birth is a
yeah.
very good metaphor for all kinds of things that aren't just humans coming into the world. And I once did a whole thing on all those steps, but there is an inwardness and an incubation period often for something new to be created. And I think that is a very significant perspective. And it allows us to not beat ourselves up when we're in that stage.
My wonder is like what I think about is as I'm getting old, is it because I'm getting older that these um breaks or like cocooning or whatever we want to call it, going into a cocoon, are they getting longer, harder? Like I feel that that's happening to me. Like when I was younger, it was, I don't know if it's my physical energy that affects it as well, or my emotional, all the things that are happening around me, things that happen in the world can like also affect me. So it's a like every time because like when I'm not in this like cocoon stage or whatever, when I'm not like kind of hibernating and I'm like, okay, good, and I can produce and I can things, always have this feeling, oh, when is the other shoe going to drop? Like I always have this feeling like, yeah, like so I want to not feel that way, but every time it has happened. So it's not that I'm being like negative or whatever, but there is like every time I'm feeling like in a good position, okay, I'm gonna do something happens in my life unrelated to art that kind of affects it, whatever it is, something even small, minute, that just says, okay, pay attention. You are here, but just know that this is temporary because you need to kind of go to the next one. And like I feel like those things that kind of affect us are these little warning signs, or we want to call it like that, say, okay, now you got to move. You can't stay stuck in this good place forever, not because it's not good for you, but because now what, like you need to like move on, like you need to go to the next step. I don't know, I feel it like that. I'm not sure
I
if
think
that's
that's
what's happening, but
I think that's true when you're a person who's growing, who's creative and growing. It's just part of the process. And I think if we change what story we tell ourselves about it, it feels different, right? Because I just talked to someone else and she said we kept getting a voice in her head said, "This is great, but you're not there yet." Like we have this sense of that's why I called it expanding into a new story, not trash your old story.
right.
But we can't I don't think we can help it. I think when we're creative and we're growth oriented, this is just gonna happen. You're gonna be shown some way that you need to expand into the next thing. And maybe we can take the dread off it somehow, you know what I mean? Like it but nevertheless, whatever is gonna happen, we then have a choice in the moment about what you say to yourself. So now you're able to say to yourself, I've seen this before. Okay, fine. I'm going to come out the other side. This is growth. You're now saying to yourself, not, oh, how terrible this is. Oh, what a bad person I am. Oh, I'm a wreck. Everything's going to hell in a handbasket forever. You're saying, oh, I recognize this.
Well, I'm like 50-50 on that. Some days, I mean, I can't say like, I cannot really say like I'm like, like thinking about the growth every day, because there are days that I think, and this is like human beings, like we can't say that every day is like
Right.
fantastic. So for me, I do have the, not, yeah, dread, I guess you can call it dread, or the anxiety or the stress that what if I'm stuck here for a year, and what do I do now? Like it's like, can I push myself? And then, but it's just like, I don't know. This is what what I feel is like, okay, well, if these are getting longer, what do I do? Because yes, I can see that the end of it, at the end of the tunnel, there is something that happened, but waiting for it, and also expanding into the new story. But what if the story takes 2 years to happen? Like nobody can control that. And I just don't know. Like sometimes, like one of the bigger things, like especially spiritual movements, or even like just things that happen in your life sometimes don't take 2 weeks. Sometimes they do take 2 years to happen. Look at, if you're going back to birthing, that's 9 months. So like we don't know how long it's going to take, and that's for me where my anxiety happens, because I just start thinking, well, how long is going to be this one again?
Right. But at
So
the same time, you have all this other glorious stuff you've already created. And so we also have
right.
to remember to notice how far we've come. Like this one
So
things
I,
I say all the time is because you start to have an opening, so then you feel like blah, but look where you were 10 years ago,
right.
right?
So I
Like
feel
that's so
like in that sense,
significant.
yeah, I feel in that sense that then what happens is that what we do during these times is build our tools or use the tools that we have
Right,
to be able to um, get through this time where we're kind of taking this break, this hibernating break. So
right,
whatever those tools are for each person, I have my own, you might have different ones than
right,
me.
right.
So,
Like the things that the breakthroughs and the greatness we've done up till now are not gone,
mhm.
right? They're not
Yeah.
gone. And, one of the metaphors I love, since you said cocooning, is that whole metaphor of the caterpillar to the butterfly, because the caterpillar, goes along and then it stops everything. It makes this cocoon and it turns to goo inside of there. And I always joke like nobody likes being in the goo. Nobody likes that feeling. But in order to become a butterfly, it has to go through the goo and then it has to struggle out of the chrysalis. And I always say that's the three steps of all creative endeavor. I call it vision, chaos, manifestation. So you've got your vision, and then you're going to go through some period of the cocoon, which feels like you're stuck in the goo. And I always say, if you're in the goo, you say, oh, I'm in the goo. What do I need to do? And then you do whatever you're gonna do, and eventually you come out. And some are short, some might be that process in one day, and some might be a process over a year or whatever. But if you know that that middle stage is part of all creative endeavor, then you just do something about it as opposed to beating yourself up for being in it. And I think it's significant that you're talking about it because so often people think, I can't talk about this. I can't I'm all about telling your authentic story, like being where you are. And this is such an important conversation because there's nothing wrong with us when we hit this stage, because all creatives hit this, no matter what. There's
All
just,
humans, not only all creatives. I feel like
that's true.
I hit this stage both in my creative life, but I also hit it in my personal life with different things, whether it's my physical health, or emotional, mental, like, like I feel, and I actually talk very freely about it. I have in my YouTube channel before where I spoke about my mental health and my physical health and how it affected how things in my life move, because I didn't always have the perfect health. So that affected my story. That affected the way that I can live in this life. So yeah,
Tell us
it's
a
not
little bit
only.
about your artist story inside of all of this. Like, tell us, like, has your work always been as an artist?
I've always been art inclined. I've Since I was really young, I always took art classes, and it was more like fine art sculpting. I've always tried arts and crafts, like many different things. It's always been in me. I have in my family, there's quite a few artists. One of them quite well known, not here, but well known in somewhere else. And I feel like I've developed it, but it was all self-taught. I never went to school for that, not in the in not like a professional school or anything like that. And honestly, it actually started not through my thing online, and it didn't actually start through art. It started through scrapbooking. I just wanted to kind of do this for fun. I found it really relaxing to do that for the photos with my kids, and I did some card making and things. That was just for fun using papers. But that led me into mixed media. That I incorporated not only that, but I also learned with mixed media something called art journaling came up. And what art journaling is basically like written journaling, like people do in their diaries, or when they write about the way they feel, or what they've done, in life, but you express it through art. And that really changed my perspective. I stopped doing everything else once I got into art journaling, and I started focusing just on art journaling, which really gave me like a sense of purpose. I used to do mixed media canvases and many other things where you can see like behind me, but it was art journal that really spoke to me because for many different reasons. One was you're working in a book, so you're kind of telling your story through art. And that really spoke to me. You don't have to be perfect. It's not something that's going to be going up in a museum. It's something that you're doing for yourself. You're creating for yourself to be able to kind of go through, let's say, something emotional, something that you're going through, or even just practicing. Art generally can just, you can mess up a page and not worry about it. You can just flip the page and you've messed up and no problem. You don't have to seek perfection. And I experimented with so many different techniques, taught myself so many that I started teaching the techniques. But what happened was that after teaching so many techniques, I'm like, okay, where do you go from now? Like I've taught so many, I've learned so many, and I'm like, okay, but that's just techniques. And it like at some point, almost like I got to a point where I just didn't want to just do techniques because it was just not, I don't want to say boring, but it was just like, there's nothing else for me here. But I wanted to explore, and this is where I went into one of those breaks. I wanted to explore how can our journaling actually not only help us tell our story, but how can help our well-being. Because I believe that it can, but it was not only about doing the techniques. It had to be more than that. And I was doing it, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago I ended up meeting an art therapist from Israel who she developed her own visual journaling, so art journaling techniques of using the visual journal therapeutically. So not specifically like as therapy. It's not like I'm not licensed I can't cure anybody. I'm not a psychotherapist, but it helps people to use it to help their well-being. And what it's called Soul Pages. And it's a specific method that actually incorporates the art journaling with many different aspects of whether it is meditation, there is actual written journaling, you can do so many different things. There is visualization, you can do poetry, you can analyze a song. So you're incorporating the art with the spiritual part to help your well-being. So it's a combination of many different things. And I took this course, so now I can facilitate those. I'm a facilitator, and I actually teach with her new cohorts as well. But I also developed my a few courses myself with this method. So I kind of came up with new ideas. One of them is actually the free gift that I'm giving today. That I'll speak about it at the end. But it's a way to really find how to help yourself through creativity. And you don't have to be creative to do this. You could just have no like experience at all, because it's very simple. It uses images, a little bit of color, lines, and text, or like book pages, to just glue onto a book and be able to kind of express what you are either feeling or trying to process at the moment.
And so when you started doing this, did you start to feel it helping you in a deeper way?
Oh, it definitely did. Unfortunately, like when I signed up, which I signed up like in 2023 in July or I don't remember, like in the beginning of the year of 2023, but the course only started when she started teaching us. It was end of October 2023. And what happened was that a few weeks before, October 7th happened, which is like a very significant thing that happened in Israel for me. My family lives in Israel, and it was almost like a traumatic experience, even though I wasn't there at the moment. It was a very huge trauma that happened to every Jewish person, especially to the families that are there. Yeah. And it stopped me in my tracks, not only myself, but to many other people. And we had already signed up for this course to learn how to do this and to help ourselves. And I was stuck. I could not create a thing. And I didn't know what to do, because this is what I was talking about before, that when there is times that it's my own creative break, okay? But this was something that an outside source, an outside external influence made me stop in my tracks. And I'm like, oh, I can't. If these people are suffering so much, my people are suffering so much, they're going through these horrible things. How can I now just sit here and just create? It was just like my brain could not comprehend it. But I had already signed up. I paid. It was not a cheap course, because it's a training. I think it's like yeah, it's like a 6 months training. So it's not something that I could just say, okay, sorry. And she was going through that as well. And basically what I said is like, just show up every Tuesday. You're going to show up every Tuesday. You're going to listen to what you do. And the only thing I could create was this one page every Tuesday when I was going to her course. But as I was going through them, the processing, I was able to process, because almost everything was related to this. So I would like, there was like a type, sometimes was, some things were related to my creativity, but some things were like, I couldn't separate the two subjects. And I know that other people, so there were a few other Jewish people in our course, so they were going through the same thing as me. But even the ones that were not Jewish, they have had some either traumatic experiences in the past or things that they had to process. And they saw a huge improvement in this as well. They were able to like almost leave some of the things behind, and or some of them had their like would take what they learned and they would go talk to their therapist about it to kind of process the information, which is really helpful. And I did the same thing, because I see a therapist as well, or I was seeing for a while. Now I only go when I need to. But I really felt that the pages helped me process what I was going through. And then I would go and I would show my therapist the page, and I would be like, oh, here it is, like, let's talk about it. Specifically was a page that I couldn't really comprehend or process. So
That
yeah.
well, look, I'm with you on that. I'm also Jewish, and so I had I went through my whole own thing, because I had scheduled a workshop on joy for October 11th of that year, and I had to go through, what do I do now? And I remember in my synagogue, because it happened on the holiday of Simchat Torah, which is a day of joy, and in America, we have 2 days. So we had to decide, are we going to still dance? And we said yes. And so I went through my own version of saying, I have to get back up, and I have to lead inside of what I believe makes our world a beautiful, a good and beautiful place. And we can't give up. Like you didn't give up. You still showed up for your course. You still made your page every day, and you learned the thing. You didn't quit. And this is part of, I think, what's so significant in how we help each other, is so that we get back up. Like I like to say, there's only fall down, get up. And in the Jewish world, they say, what is a righteous person? It's a tzaddik, sheyipol sheva pamim. Someone who falls down 7 times and gets up 8 is an elevated person, not someone who never falls down. Like, that's just a myth. There's no such thing. So I just really appreciate you for your, like, when people share their stories authentically, we remind each other that we're all going through variations of how do you get back up. Like, that is just how it is. So you have all these tools now that help you. It helped you then, and now it's still helping you. The soul pages. So take us a little bit more into how you started to get back. How did you continue to get back up, and how do you keep doing that?
Right. So then what I did, once I finished the course, I actually took actually a second course with her. It was a shorter course. It's called Color Archetypes. And because some part of the thing of soul pages is also working with archetypes, different types of archetypes that help you kind of process different things within yourself and within the world, right? So I started, once all those were done, I started thinking, okay, well, how do I develop my own things? What ideas can I use to develop my own things? Because what she taught was her own interpretation of soul pages. But when I am wanting to teach it, like I'm coming from a different perspective that she is. And what I love about soul pages is that whenever you teach it, and even when I'm doing it, let's say I make a soul page and I think of the whole process of how I'm going to teach it, right? But then I teach it because I teach it live, which I really like, and with people are like around me on Zoom. And I find that's a really great thing to interact with other people and to kind of and that really helps because you're kind of feeding off each other's energies, positive energies, and so forth. But even every time that I teach the course, the pages come completely different, even though you're following the exact same step. And that's the thing. And even each person that does this, that's sitting there, or even does it after the fact, their pages look exactly, sorry, their pages all look different. The reason why it is because number one, we each choose different images. We all have different issues that we're trying to work through. No two people are the same. We use different colors, we use different images, we use different lines, we use different words that speak to us, mantras. So even though I might be leading you through the same visualization about a specific like thing about gratitude, which is what I'll be talking about today, I find that each person will see gratitude in a completely different way. And so I love seeing how and I always tell my students, it's not about perfection. So don't worry about how your page comes out. I want you to be able to look at this page and say, oh, I understand why this image came up, why another image came up. And this is really important too kind of see. So that's where the goal is, to help people help themselves. Yeah.
So, all right, that's a perfect lead into talking about your free gift. So tell them what it is, and then we'll give them some tips on the steps to get it.
All right. Yes. So one of the first courses that I actually developed, it's called Seeds of Gratitude. So it's one of my favorite courses because there is a metaphorical kind of component to it, because as we're going through the steps of like even the artistic steps, like the actual, like it's a very easy thing. We're using crayons and watercolors in a very simplistic way. As we're going through the process, there's a metaphor on how we're planting seeds in our journals, and those seeds grow into something that either seeds that we want to kind of develop for the future, or seeds that we've already planted and we wanted to kind of expand our stories on. So it kind of fits really well. And this is the page that I originally created. So, and you can see the little seeds. You can see all this. Oh, sorry, I can.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see the seeds that were planted. Okay, and we kind of go to the process of watering them with a paintbrush, but you're watering them, you're making them grow. And this is like when I developed the course. Okay, so some of the seeds were my children, for example, so they're represented by these two birds. There is the seeds of myself, on how I see myself spiritually, the seeds of how I want to be when I grow old. So there was like all these components that I wanted to kind of express. So when I actually taught the class, and I taught it twice because it was for different groups, you can see like my next one, it's completely different. You can't tell. You can see the seeds everywhere, right? You can see like all the seeds, but this turned out differently than another course. And then I taught it a third time, and the colors came out completely different. So you can see the seeds, but it was like a few months later. So the stages that we're at are different no matter what we do. So each person will develop a different a different view of like how they're going to. And then so I'm offering this course is free. I was like, we were just discussing about how to go about signing up, because it's actually a course. So because it's on my website, you need to sign up for it, even though it's free. So even though it says buy it, because people can purchase it for like a fee, you're getting it for free. So all you have to do is just buy it, but the fee will be zero. So you don't have to worry about that. You just have to put you have to sign up by putting your email and password, and that helps you be able to log in to every time you log into the same website, and all the courses that you have. I have a lot of other free gifts that you can, like free things for everybody that you can sign up as well. So everything will be there. And on top of it, what I offer as well is that once you like go through the sign up of the free course, there is an offer for a few courses for 50% off. They're the same Soul Pages courses. One of them is called actually, I don't know which ones I offered, but there's quite a few of them. There is Branches of Light, and which I've taught. There's quite a few. There's like Animal Wisdom, so it's all about your animal, finding your animal symbolism. There's quite a few of them there. So what I like is that, like, I've taught many different ones, and what I like about them is that they each kind of go through a different stage. So for example, so you can purchase them for 50% off. That's basically what it is. I'm trying to find the one that oh, here
So
it
what
is,
you'll
sorry.
see when you get on the page is once you click to buy it and it's free, and you put your password and you submit, you're going to see these half price courses. But if you go down to the bottom and you click
Right.
skip, all that you don't want, if you don't want any of
Exactly. You don't have to
that,
purchase them. It's only if you want to. They're
right,
they're
that'll
being
launch you
offered.
right into the free course, which is such a beautiful, generous gift. It's going to allow you to dive into this super cool thing. And the fact that it's called Soul Pages, I call my whole course is the Soul Story course. I love this idea. And I think you're going to find it extremely soul nourishing and uplifting to combine this deep soul work with creative, visual art expression.
Yeah, I just also want to mention that this is a previously recorded course that was taught live. So you will see other people in the course, and but many people have signed up for it, like behind the scenes, obviously. And you can just go, you can pause it, you can work on your thing, you can then restart it. So that's why it's a video, but it was recorded on Zoom the same way that it's being recorded now. So as I said, like for example, this is called Branches of Light, and it's about like the different branches that we build in our lives to be able to kind of expand into our story. So I really have this metaphor with trees that I really love. There is like so many different courses that I just really love expanding on, because they help you kind of realize that there's many aspects of our lives that we kind of don't even touch upon because we just don't know how to deal with them, and these help kind of move that, or kind of I don't know, help us along. I don't know. So I have quite a few. There is
They'll see
yeah,
it. It's
quite a few.
super cool and it's so fun. I mean, everything looks so gorgeous and creative and fun, and it's wonderful. So it's worth the effort to just take a minute to put in your name and make a password and see what's there, and then land in this Soul Pages course that on gratitude. And anything you make, if you want to share it in the Facebook group for the show, we'd love to see it. So just leave us with the last thought, Keren, because we're about to wrap up.
Yeah, so actually about what you said though, I want to say that I do have also a Facebook group just for these pages. So if you want to join that and share it there as well, and share it, and this page is great. What I want, okay, a few thoughts. I feel that some of the things that I think, like, I'm trying myself to not to be so hard on myself on when I take these breaks. I feel right now I'm on a break and it's taking a little bit longer than I wanted to. And I'm trying to really help myself remember that there is that light at the end of the tunnel, that I do have the tools, whatever the tools are. For me, sometimes the tools is just going to the beach. I mean, I don't have a beach near me, but I'm going on vacation. So it's a tool. Like you find the tools, and when I come back from, let's say, that trip, or when I do something, even lighting a candle, taking a bath, whatever it is, doesn't have to be something artistic. You have the tools within you to be able to find that light, find that place where you can move forward. But if it is like me, that you think that it might take you a long time, because I have a feeling this one will be a little bit longer, and that I understand. And I want to develop, for example, one of the things that have stopped me is that developing these new courses. I have been a little bit stuck in that, even though I have this amazing course that I already did, and it's called Bridges Through Time, and I want to like put it out there, but I'm just not ready, and that's okay. And I'm saying to myself, okay, that's okay. You'll know when the time is right that you can put out this course. It's a very, very interesting course on soul pages, and maybe it will be in the new year, maybe it will be, I don't know, but it's giving us some grace. And yeah, I think grace is a good, it's a good thing for this.
Right. And to have that expanded perspective that just because the thing isn't now doesn't mean that that's wrong. And to have that bigger picture and to notice the good tools that you have, because already you guys are, you have no idea what she's talking about, that she feels stuck because you can see a million super cool things. So
Right.
it doesn't
Yeah,
look
but
stuck to
those
us.
are from like 8 months ago.
I
So
know,
I feel like,
nevertheless,
no, never, the point is that everybody has those tools. Everybody has something that they've created, even if they're stuck right now. And it's very
right.
hard to kind of look back, but at the same time, we need to also look forward, right? So
Exactly. Exactly. So trust yourselves, get the free gift, do some soul pages. Feel free to share them in Karen's group, in the soul story, in the show group. And as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.